So I remember how we got this home. We were working on plans next door, and we were helping sell that home to another investor who was going to build it out once we designed it and got the floor plans ready. And as we were leaving that property, I was walking down the driveway and I happened to see a sign on this particular house. And it was a small yellow house sitting on a big lot. And I remember seeing a for lease sign. So I took a picture of it. And then as I was driving back to the office later that day, I called up the number, and the owner happened to pick up. And we started chatting a little bit. I told him what our business is, and he told me that, this was his home, and he owned multiple homes around the area and lived locally around here. And I said, I'm interested. I want to buy your house. Is there a way you might be interested in selling it? And I remember him laughing at me, right, and saying, I can be able to afford the house, right? And I said, what's your price? He said, it's $1 million. I said, okay, give me a couple days to think about this and I'll get back to you. And I remember him kind of laughing a little bit, and I don't know, maybe he was just saying that we couldn't afford it because he thought I was young, or he didn't know anything about our business, or whatever it was. It was interesting, right?
I mean, that's, that has happened to us in the past. A lot of times we're dealing with, older generations, or just people who, they may not see us as, we don't look like the typical.
I need more bass in my voice, right?
We don't look like the typical developer investor, so.
Yeah,
I can see that.
And I remember, after we spoke about it with our team, we called them back within a day or two. And I said, hey, you know what? Your price $1 million, cool. I love it. Let's do it. But we have a few terms on our end. I said, for us, if we were to buy it outright, we'd have holding costs for at least a year. And on $1 million, it would cost us about, $100,000. So here's an idea. Why don't we lease it from you for an above market price, if that makes sense, and we'll give you a nice deposit, and once we get plans approved, we'll close. After he thought about it for a few days, we ended up coming to an agreement, and we got this house under contract for lease to own. So I don't remember the exact dollar amount, but I remember we were able to lease it, and he would randomly check up on it, and once we had to keep him in the loop, and once we actually got plans approved, we'd go ahead and close on the property.
I think the other piece about it was, we knew he was asking on the purchase price. He was asking a little more. He wanted more than it should have. It would have maybe comped or been valued at the time. But
it was a 900 square foot home, right?
Yeah.
So he's asking for $1 million. He's asking for almost 1,100 a square foot or something crazy like that. So.
But I think he was really surprised in how we were able to structure the deal. Mm-hmm. It's very few times where you're asking for above market price on a product or home that doesn't necessarily command that, and we're like, yeah, we're good with it, but we need this to kind of offset, right, the higher purchase price. So
terms were great. I remember when we locked it all up, he was excited, right? But he wanted to, I could tell in his eyes, and after speaking with him more throughout the year, that he really wanted to see how we would perform, if we would really close, or if we were just leasing this for a period of time and just kind of, maybe seeing what we're capable of. But once we got it under contract, we were able to get creative and Airbnb the property for a little bit.
Yeah, and this wasn't the first time that we Airbnb'd one of our, projects. It just made a lot of sense, especially in this case. This home had a pool. The previous owner, really took care of this home, and it was super well maintained. And it just made a lot of sense for us. We were able to kind of gather pieces of furniture that you, myself, and Mike didn't need anymore, or maybe we were replacing in our own homes.
As well as our contractors' furniture.
Yeah. We just took donations.
We were taking donations that were in good condition, that kind of had a certain style, so it worked out well.
Yeah. Furniture.
I remember we did get our buddies bunk beds and things like that.
So. And it covered the rent, and this turned out to actually be one of our top performing Airbnbs that we've ever had. Because of the pool, the location. And and it was well maintained, prior to us developing it.
And even afterwards, we were able to hold a few events here, catered events to some of our clients, some of our investors, to showcase the potential of this property, right? And it's nice because now that they've seen what it is completed and that it's in escrow, it's an amazing transformation, right? What it did for
No, and just I think what you want to touch on, you know, is really like the creativity, right?
Yeah.
From structuring the deal to just the different ways we acquire, you know, that are just really creative, thinking outside of the box, you know, using the property, you know, from the lease to own to the Airbnb it to hosting private events for our company and our team members to, you know, to what it is now. Like, I think it just goes to show like how creative we are.
And it was dope because it all just came from a sign, a for lease sign.
Yeah.
The guy wasn't even probably thinking about selling.
Yeah, he
and,
wasn't.
And
I
he
think
had
he
a
was
crazy
surprised.
number in his mind. He's owned it for over 20 plus years, I believe.
Yeah.
And, you know, the one thing to think about is we were working on the house next door. We saw this house here. We locked it up, got it in escrow. And during this whole reconstruction of this home, we were able to buy another one on the same street. I mean, how a lot of investors that do what we do look at things is they look at a property and they think, this is how I'm gonna make my money. I'm gonna be in, I'm gonna be out. I think the really dope thing of how we look at things is we look at not just the property, but we look at all angles, right? How can we help develop this block, or what are other ways we can make money, not just from the home, but maybe from other homes in the area? So from, you know, what we started next door, we're able to lock up this property, right? Able to lock up another property down the street. And basically from this property here, we've gotten investors, we've gotten some retail clients, and it's still showing right now, right? I mean, it's a great way to look at making money multiple ways instead of just one way directly from a home.